This is my beautiful, brilliant, confident daughter, Madison. I have always known that at some point we would have to have the difficult conversations about skin color. What I wasn't prepared for was how early we would have to start these conversations. At 3 years old, my daughter came home and said this to me. Me and my friends were playing rocket ship, and my brown face was gone, and I was a white girl. I don't like being a brown girl anymore because that makes me sad. When I be a white girl, that makes me happy. How do you have this conversation with a 3-year-old? I started to think about the things that influenced me growing up. I'm a Black Latina female, and I have always known that I was different. I thought about these direct influences in my life and what was represented to me, and none of them represented my aesthetic. So then I thought about what were the things that did create a sense of belonging. And though there were substantially fewer options, they were impactful, and I did feel represented. I knew what I needed to do with Madison. We needed to create a world where she saw herself. We surrounded her with books and dolls and images that had characters that looked like her and were showcased in a positive light. You might be thinking, great story, but what does this have to do with marketing? Well, representation is crucial, and it's important, especially in our ever-changing world and its demographic. Some things that we need to know: Asians, African Americans, and Hispanics were expected to contribute to 90% of the population growth from 2014 through 2020, and we're here now. Millennials are poised to become the group with the most spending power, and they are responding with their dollars to companies who make products for real people. Thus, inclusivity has become perceivable to be the most marketable. The spending power of African Americans is projected to reach $1.2 trillion by 2020. And the buying power of the LGBTQ+ community has already reached $917 billion. I thought about who has been doing diversity marketing well and who has failed at it. So here are a few do's and don'ts of diversity marketing. Lina Rama is a Canadian independent designer. She has built a successful apparel company by being diverse and inclusive. Her supporters feel seen, valued, and beautiful in her apparel, no matter their size, skin color, orientation, etc. The result of that is consistent engagement. She has a steadily growing brand that has now the support of a lot of celebrities and customer loyalty. Dolce & Gabbana featured this ad with an Asian woman trying to eat popular Italian dishes with chopsticks. And there was a male commentator basically mocking her the entire time. Technically, the ad is diverse because it features a minority woman, but it certainly was not inclusive. It was tone deaf and sparked outrage, which resulted in them having to cancel their Shanghai fashion show, which cost them millions of dollars. Ben & Jerry's uses inclusive and diverse visuals on their website and in their advertising. They have a diverse board of directors, and they are advocates of equality, and they lead by example. And as a result, they have customer loyalty, which is important in building a successful company and the type of longevity that they have. H&M featured this image on their website of a young boy in a hoodie sweatshirt that read, "Coolest monkey in the jungle." I've definitely heard parents endearingly and playfully refer to their children as monkeys, but in the Black community, this term can be triggering because of the way that it's been used as a racist and derogatory remark towards us for many years and still up until now. So it came off as tone deaf, and it sparked outrage, and as a result, they had stores vandalized. They had to close their store in South Africa. They had $4 billion worth of unsold merchandise, and their operating profit fell 62%. Fenty offered 50 shades of foundation makeup for all skin tones, and as a result, they had $100 million in sales in their first 40 days of business. Adidas teased this new shoe with shackles on their social media. It came off as tone deaf as it evoked images of slavery in a lot of people, sparked outrage on their social media page, and as a result, they ended up having to cancel the shoe before it was released. Nike did this beautifully, and I would like to show you guys this commercial.
If people say your dreams are crazy, if they laugh at what you think you can do, good. Stay that way. Because what non-believers fail to understand is that calling a dream crazy is not an insult. It's a compliment. Don't try to be the fastest runner in your school or the fastest in the world. Be the fastest ever. Don't picture yourself wearing OBJ's jersey. Picture OBJ wearing yours. Don't settle for homecoming queen or linebacker. Do both. Lose 120 pounds and become an Ironman after beating a brain tumor. Don't believe you have to be like anybody to be somebody. If you're born a refugee, don't let it stop you from playing soccer for the national team at age 16. Don't become the best basketball player on the planet. Be bigger than basketball. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. When they talk about the greatest team in the history of the sport, make sure it's your team. If you have only one hand, don't just watch football, play it at the highest level. And if you're a girl from Compton, don't just become a tennis player. Become the greatest athlete ever. Yeah, that's more like it. So don't ask if your dreams are crazy. Ask if they're crazy enough.
So they used an inclusive and diverse campaign to empower people from all backgrounds. And as a result, they saw a 31% increase in sales. They had record engagement, and the Nike stock climbed higher after this. It's important to know the difference between inclusivity and diversity. Diversity is the who and what, is the inherent characteristics that we're born with. Inclusivity are the behaviors that embrace and welcome diversity. So how do we implement inclusive diversity marketing across industries and within any marketing budget? You know the phrase change starts at home. Well, change also starts at the office. Diversity and inclusion in your companies is crucial for having successful marketing campaigns. Some companies have implemented diversity and inclusion programs, or D&I programs, and that is a great place to start. There are a few things to consider before doing so. If you are implementing a D&I program immediately following an incident, it can come off as inauthentic. So it's definitely better to implement the program before an embarrassing scandal. D&I programs should be aimed at changing behaviors without villainizing a specific or certain group of people, so that people are more open and receptive to these programs. Consistency is key. If you're implementing a D&I program only at the time of hire, it will prove to be unsuccessful. It's important to integrate these programs throughout the different components of the company. And to encourage leaders to get on board with a D&I program, you'll want to prove the ROI of having these programs. And if you can quantify that, that will be more persuasive. So using some of the examples that we looked at earlier would be a good place to use those. The best example that I saw of diversity and inclusion came through this quote from HR guru Pat Waters. And I do believe that if we do this, we will be more inclusive, we'll be wiser, and we'll be better as organizations and as people. And if we do this the right way, damn it, I'm a mom. My daughter, Madison, will grow up in a world where she does not want to be anyone other than herself.
People